is actually combined and direct, or combined and powers related part 2. This is a part that I forgot, so I'm going to do a little separate quick video to discuss it so anyone who wasn't here can have a chance to see it or listen to it again. Well, what factor does F change if, for example, M is doubled? So here's what you have to consider. When you have some things on top, like M is, then you have some things like C and D, they're on bottom. There are some things that are making this get bigger, and there's something that's making F get smaller. So when you have that combination, you have to really think about what is going to be the overall effect on our letter F. So here's my guiding rule of thought. If it says M is doubled, and M is the only one that is mentioned, what I need you to think about doing is I want you to, let me see if I can find my pens. I want you just to imagine ignoring anything except for M. So I'm going to ignore the constant 2, ignore the C, and ignore D squared. All right, ignore it. So here then what you ask yourself, I'm just going to put the number. I know when it's talking about double it, I know that's associated with like 2, multiplying it by 2 or doubling it. So I know it's going to be a factor of 2. So here's what I'm going to tell myself. If M gets 2 times bigger and nothing else changes, that's the only thing that happens is M gets 2 times bigger. M is on top, so I'm going to ignore everything on the bottom. Nothing on the bottom changes, so nothing is going to change F except for what M. If M gets 2 times bigger, guess what? F should also get 2 times bigger. So F will double also or get 2 times more, okay, or 2 times bigger. All right, I'm going to go to letter B. Okay, I'm going to start with a clean slate, and I'm going to ask myself and present myself the same thing. C is tripled. So when I see tripled, I know that's associated with the number 3. And I'm going to do just like I did last time. I'm going to ignore everything else except the letter I'm interested in. I don't need to worry about the constant 2. I don't need to worry about something M. I don't need to worry about D squared. The only thing that's going to happen is C is going to triple. So if I put a 3 in place of C, okay, what I've done is C is getting 3 times larger, but C's on the bottom, okay? So what happens if this gets 3 times larger? Well, remember, these work opposite. So if this goes 3 times larger, F should go 3 times smaller. Or you can think of it as putting a 1 here, and it would be a fraction as 1/3 as much. I hope that makes sense. Again, if C gets 3 times bigger, so on the bottom it's getting 3 times bigger, but overall, F works opposite, right? As one goes up, the other goes down. F is going to get 3 times smaller. So 3 times smaller, or 1/3 as much. Okay? All right, so as one goes up, the other goes down. That's because it was letter C, and letter C was on the bottom. All right, I'm going to talk about letter C. Again, erasing, so I'll start with a clean slate. D is doubled. So letter D is doubled. Letter D is right here, so it's going to be 2, but it's not just times 2. D is squared. All right. So like I've been doing, I'm going to remind myself that the only letter that's being changed is D, so I'm going to ignore the constant 2, ignore M, and ignore C. So when I ignore those, the only thing that I have to worry about is what's left. Okay, D was doubled, which is 2 squared. 2 squared is 4. Okay, so on the bottom I end up with the number 4, and if you don't have a number on top, you can just put a 1. So what that means is D got 4 times bigger, but what happens to F? Okay, remember these work opposite. So if D gets 4 times bigger, F is going to get what? 4 times smaller. So, or 1/4 as much. So I'm going to say it's going to be 4 times smaller, or 1/4 as much. Okay, so the easy thing to do is ignore every letter except those that you're interested in. Okay, before I move on to letter D, I'm actually going to erase, so I have a clean slate again. Okay, this time I have 2 letters mentioned. Not only is M going to double, okay, C is going to triple at the same time. So it's the first time I've had 2 letters and are both happening. Now remember, M is going to double, so a factor of 2 is on top. C is going to triple. It's a factor of 3 on the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ignore anything. Okay, so I'm going to ignore the constant 2 and ignore d squared. Now keep this in mind. M is going to make it get 2 times more. Okay, but actually 3, okay, C is actually getting, C works opposite. So if C goes down or gets 3 times bigger, it's on the bottom. So it's like one thing makes it go up and the other thing's making it go down, all right? So what's the overall effect? Well, F is actually going to get bigger because of the 2, but it's going to get smaller because of the 3 on the bottom. So what happens is it's actually going to be straightforward, just exactly what you see, 2 on top over 3 on the bottom. It's going to be 2/3 as much. It actually gets cut back, gets cut down because it's inversely proportional to 3, which is more than 2 times getting bigger. So that means it's 2/3 as much as it was before. And I'm simply pulling the numbers 2 and the 3 straight off of the equation. So if I do it that way, I'm actually taking account for every part of it. All right, last one is E. If you want to pause the video, try this one on your own. I'm going to go ahead and say pause now. Try E. And when you come back, you can check your answer. Okay, pause now. Okay, we're back. So what I did is I went ahead and I ignored my constant 2. So by ignoring constant 2, that's something that doesn't change and I don't have to worry about it. Okay, I put a 4 in for M is quadrupled, C is doubled, and D is tripled. So what I ended up with is a 4 on top, a 2, and then 3 to the second power. 3 to the second power has to do that exponent. So 3 times 3 twice is 9. So I end up with a 2 and a 9, and those two things are multiplied. That's where 18 comes from. Now 4/18 can be reduced. 2 goes into 4 2 times, 2 goes into 18 9 times, 2 ninths. And that's why it's 2 ninths as much. Again, if you put the numbers in place in your problem, in your equation, you pull those numbers out, and that will help answer these questions. All right.